Hey, everybody. Good to see you. David Snedeker here with the Indoctrination. We have very special guests with us tonight. David Nino Rodriguez, all the way from El Paso. Also on the phone with us is Todd Gedominski and Cindy Johnson, my co-hosts. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Nino. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
How you doing? You having a good day?
So far, so good. I've been looking forward to this interview, to be quite honest.
Awesome.
Like I said, we have a lot more common ground than you think. I just have probably a lot of elementary questions I've never jumped into. Can I say that letter on here? Can I say?
Yeah, we
Or
normally
should I say
use
17?
17
Okay.
because I try to keep it on YouTube right now, even though I'm on my third channel.
Yeah, that's
But
what,
if you
yeah, I
slip
know.
once in a while, don't sweat it. We'll figure
Okay,
it out.
so I want to learn more about 17 because I do believe there's a military, and here's my theory. Here's my reasoning behind this. Whatever you want to call it, 17, the letter in the alphabet, whatever you want to call this movement or this these drops or these boards or military intelligence, whatever. Common sense tells me this. I've talked to people that where I get my sources. I put pieces of the puzzle together myself. I've researched a long time. Trump to me was like a godsend when he was running because I thought it was game over from Obama. I've been awake since about 9/11. Okay. So I know what the plans of the globalists were. I knew where we were. I knew what they were marching us into. I've known all this for a very long time. I've thought I was interested in 17, but I do not follow anything that I consider cultish or anything like that. So I didn't really pay attention to the boards or the comms or anything like that. I've always I've gotten this far off my own research and people that I've talked to. But here's my common sense here's my logic behind this, and it's this. There's no way Trump should have won 2016. We all agree on that. No way. There's no way. There had to have been a military intelligence behind him to propel him to give him the confidence to first run and number two win, because Hillary was picked to win, and he threw a monkey wrench in their plans. Not only that, the way the tariffs he's put on China, the way his speeches at the UN, all tell me that this man, this is not confidence that he just has by himself, and he's not a man that's going to go into anything unless he knows he's going to win. He's a businessman. He does everything to the 10th degree. He's an incredible competitor. There's no way he's going to go into any situation thinking, I might lose. It might be fun to be president. I'll give it a shot. No way. Not with the balls that he had during presidency, because to be quite honest, like right now that he lost this or what we know what happened this last election, but he would be a dead man. He would be a dead man. He went against the world for how we all saw it. Now, it's my fault that I didn't look into number 17 the way I should have and followed up on the comms, probably because it's my ADD. I don't know. But I always just did my own. I've always gone from what I know in the past, which is I've known the globalist agenda my entire life, or since after 9/11, and the people that I've come in contact with, that have given me information, and I've taken that and just put the pieces of the puzzle together myself. Now, do I wish or do I think that number 17 is real? I think there is a military intelligence behind Trump. Now, is that what you're calling number 17?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then we have common ground. We have a lot of common ground. It's just my fault that I don't follow the comms and I don't.
No, it's not.
I thought it could be like a game of Clue or something. It was starting to feel to me like it could have been Raiders of the Lost Ark, kind of a fun and games for people. But that's why I never took it really seriously. That's to my detriment. So.
Well, I wouldn't say there's any fault here whatsoever. First of all, but I want to get into that a little bit. I just want to bring Todd Gedominski and Cindy Johnson in to say hi. Hey guys, thanks for being here. And they always call in, so it's always the voice from above, like God. We call Todd Tesla as well. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Dave. Hey Dave. Hey Nino.
Hi
Hey,
Dave.
guys,
Hi Nino. Hi Snedheads.
Hey, Dave, or Nino, I think that we're in very common ground here because you already believe that it did take some other assistance to get President Trump into the presidency to begin with. And I firmly agree with that.
No doubt, no doubt. The only problem I have with this whole thing is I think the 17 followers, because I can't say that word. I think a lot of them have spread disinformation or given their interpretation of what the drops are or what they mean. And I think that's what scared a lot of people off or throwing a lot of people off is that I don't now.
Absolutely. I think that there are definite shills and LARPs. You know, you have to, if you agree with that first theory that there was a military intelligence operation to even
Had to
get
be.
President
Had to
Trump
be.
in, then we're halfway there. And then maybe direct you to what 17 has done many times throughout these posts.
Yeah.
Is there are things called zero deltas. And that was the big seller for me on the way up, as these drops were coming, you know, weekly, daily, monthly, for the 3 years. When 17 basically put out that he wanted a message basically replied to by President Trump, it was actually, they were posted at the exact same time.
Got you.
And without this coordination, there's no way that there's no coincidence that you could actually have President Trump post, say, you know, per what 17 asked him to post, and they both posted it within 3 seconds of each other.
Got you. Okay.
So we call that a zero delta, and
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest sellers for me on the way up.
So the where this all came to be for me, and I know you guys are fairly new to this. Todd and I've been working on the drops together for a little over a year. And my good friend of mine, he turned me on to 17 the day after the first drop. And I read it immediately, and it had, you know, those first couple drops, they had me at hello, right? They had,
So that was in 2017, right?
yeah. October 29th was when I discovered it. It was 28th, the first drop. And so for me, it told me everything I already knew. I've been awake 14 years. We've had this conversation, and I was awake longer with the MK Ultra stuff, but I didn't tie in all the other stuff until later. And so for me, 17 was a breath of fresh air because 17 was saying things that I already knew to be true, but I also knew that the justice had not yet arrived for the people that 17 was talking about. Right. And so I dove in, and then this is, you know, something like show 530 or something like that, over 2.5 years. And Todd, Cindy joined me maybe a couple hundred episodes ago, maybe 300. And we started diving really significantly into 17. We're going to get into that a little bit because we want to share that with you and your audience. And it's my goal to really, because there are two things that 17 has said that Todd and I constantly remind ourselves and our listeners about. And I know you know this, learn our comms, which Todd and I have done, like, you know, and I think you'll really dig how we do it. And there are no outside comms. Okay.
I know both those. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm familiar with both those.
okay. So the other thing that 17 has never come out with specific dates. Okay. I believe there are two separate, maybe three separate drops where dates are mentioned. And it's 11/3, 11/4, and 11/6. They have to do with Podesta and Huma Abedin. And but those also could be dates that have already happened and we don't know they happened. Like, for example, Huma doesn't tweet for a year, right? She disappeared. So a lot of these people have disappeared. So these things could have happened. But the other thing is we've also seen the military manual that has those, you know, stamps. And there's also some consideration of the Julian calendar, which was today and yesterday, right? It's like the 113th, 114th day of the year. So there's and there's always double meaning with drops and so forth. But I can tell you this, that there are a couple things that these drops have told me, and one is that that it's high military intelligence. They've told us there's 10 of them, 3 civilian, 7
So they
military.
okay. So they did say there is 10 of them and 3 of them are civilian. Now,
Yeah.
remember I told you that I did have
Yeah.
a phone call, and I'm not claiming that they called me. I don't know who
Right.
this guy was. But he did say that to me, that there was 10 military and 3
Civilian.
civilian, right?
Yeah.
And he was one of the civilians, he said. And he reached out to me, but he did say specifically about this was like when I first did the video that went viral. He said, "Listen, we want you to know that we're watching after you. Took a lot for what you did." And he said, and he started going into what number 17 was, this and that. I heard from him twice, never heard from him again. I'm not
Okay.
saying that he was number 7, or I'm not saying that was
Associated.
real.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't believe it. But I'll tell you one thing: they didn't tell me anything about like this is the next drop that's coming up. This is what you need to say. This is how you need to say it. They said nothing like that. It was more of a spiritual talk. Like it was more.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and I love
told you
that.
about it.
And by the way, I would believe that happened too. Like
But
first of
but
all, I
yeah,
know
but
it
I'm
happened.
not- But
First
I'm
of all,
just
I know
saying,
it
I'm on your
happened
side with
because-
this, Dave. So
because
don't think
you're
that
not
I'm
gonna
saying like,
bullshit
oh,
me.
they reached out to me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
I know.
that
I know.
I
but
don't.
here's
I
the
think it was
thing.
bullshit. But I'm just saying that someone did reach out to me. I'm saying there's a lot of pretenders out there and frauds that probably did reach out to me and say that, and that's why I never took it seriously. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you because this is the show. So
Well, that's why it's believable. That's why it's believable, because they didn't give you any information.
nothing.
Anybody.
They just told me how the technology worked.
Yeah. So
But
that's
see,
not an outside comm. That's
Okay.
hey, we appreciate what you're doing and we're looking out for you. Okay. That's
If it was real.
yeah, if it was real.
If it was
So
real.
but the problem with the present truth community is that there are see, I don't pretend to know anything more than my audience.
I like to call my audience, I like to call them detectives. Everyone needs to do their homework. Everyone needs to research on their own and take what I give them. You know, there's a lot of people bashing Charlie. There's a lot of people bashing 107. There's a lot of people bashing. I think everyone has information to deliver. Do I think Charlie and Juan and all them are bad guys? No, I think I have a good take on people, sense on people. I think they're good guys. I think, but I think they have their own specialty. You know, Charlie talks about the financial reset. Juan talks about, you know, the event that must happen, blah, blah, the military. Everyone's basically on the same page, but just brings different information. And that's why I give them the benefit of the doubt. But could they be wrong? I'm not saying they could be right, you know, but I'm trying to put the bits and pieces together myself for my audience. And it's hard. It's a motherfucker. I'm not going to lie. It's hard.
I don't
I
think
agree 100%. It's very, very difficult.
It's
in a weird way. Dave and I, when I first started getting into this, I actually responded to one of President Trump's tweets, and I asked a specific question in the way that 17 would ask, in the same verbiage, a rhetorical question where I knew the answers, but I wanted to see if they were if anybody was listening to President Trump's feed, which I figured they would be watching. And Dave, you can, you can expand on this too, but I asked a certain question, and within 10 minutes, I got a response from a person with no name, no face, on Twitter. And they were members for like 10 years. And they had like 3 followers and were following 1. And I was like, why is this person? He's been on Twitter for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at his information and I was blown away. It was like a flood of these just crazy, awesome this information, and I was like, what the hell? So I shared it with Dave, and I went back in after Dave and I had talked, and we had talked about William Colby, the CIA director.
Yeah.
And I asked the question about William Colby on a tweet, on a response to a regular tweet that President Trump put out. And I got another response, and I won't give his name, but let's just say there was a reference to cheese, as Colby was his last name. And he shared information that was just blew me away. And I was like, what is going on with this? They're watching this, they're watching Twitter, and they're watching the comms.
Yeah.
And that kind of led me into the drops and the timestamps and the deltas.
Well, here's what I'm having a hard time accepting with number 17, the whole movement and all that, is I believe we are in a serious fight. I believe this is a knockout, drag out fight. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it feels like we're losing right now. Let's just be real. Look at the slapdick that's in office right now. I mean, this is pathetic, but look what he's passing. Everyone's like, those aren't real executive orders. I'm like, well, they're passing, and it's like, these things are coming to fruition. So the movement behind 17 says this is all pantomime, like Charlie says. This is already won. Basically, they've already won, right? That's hard for me to accept. That's really tough for me to accept. I understand that we're giving them enough rope for them to hang themselves. I get it, and we can see the end game. But I think I just have a hard time for people to just sit back and go, well, we've already enjoy the show. We already won this. I think that breeds complacency. That's the one problem I have with number 17. That would be the first. That's the splinter I got in my mind, that where it's just like, man, I don't like complacency. I think people need to, I mean, the only reason these audits are these, sorry, that was my dog coughing up.
That's all right.
Damn, come on. All right. So I don't like complacency. And the only reason those audits are happening right now is because citizens decide to roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty, and go for it. Now, I think what happens in Arizona and New Hampshire, it's going to be a chain reaction. It's going to be nuclear, I believe.
Yes.
And then, so, I mean, does 17 say anything about that? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on the complacency issue and enjoy the show? And
so I agree with you. I think that anything that breeds complacency is not a good thing for humanity at all. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter what the topic is, right? And so what I see with 17 is not that. Certainly they say enjoy the show, but they've given us enough information to act on. Okay. Some of the things, for example, 17 has said class action lawsuits are valuable, right? So we're seeing class action lawsuits. We're seeing lawsuits of the states against the federal government. We're seeing the constitution of states, of people stepping up and saying, we're not going to do what you're saying we're going to do. You see Texas saying, the hell with you, Biden. We're going to keep building the wall, And so what's happening is they've given them enough rope to hang themselves, right? Which they're doing. But also we're seeing humanity rise up. And that has, and look at the people. I just watched a video of a dude who took his vaccine. He literally took the vial of the vaccine out of the pharmacy, right? And another woman who looked up the sheet, and it's like, the biggest sheet I've ever seen of, what's in it and side effects and things like that. And so all these things, people are rising up. People are saying no to
but it's too late for a lot of people, because a lot of people have taken the jab, and I guess they're going to be the collateral damage. I mean, are they going to be what? I mean, like I've said this, that no war is fought comfortably, and we are at war. This is the war of 2020, 2021. But
so
the people that have taken this, Dave, they're I mean, in my mind, they're done, dude.
And I have family who have, and I agree with you, unless something comes along like the med beds, by the way, which we talk about, but we don't say they're absolute. It's speculation. Anybody that tells me a med bed is absolute, you know what? Show it to me. Show it what
Right.
it's doing. Show me the technology. Otherwise, shut up. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Don't. And by the way, same with everything that is speculation on our show. We separate into speculation. Everything that's
Yeah.
fact, we separate into fact. And there's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot of speculation that is damaging to our humanity right now because they're throwing dates out. And I've been found guilty of expecting something to happen on certain days.
Me too.
Right? You
Yep.
know, the election, the inauguration, things like that. Never been an absolute with us, right? But we've said, hey, maybe this is going to happen. Let's, but it's when you throw out absolutes about financial reset, med beds, dates, when things are going to happen. When you throw out absolutes because you pretend that you have some intel, first of all, that's an outside comm. 17 still has 8kun to post any communication they need to. 17, by the way, people say they haven't communicated since December. Not true. Not true at all.
I was going to ask you that.
We're going to show you that. They're communicating to us all the time. Okay. A lot of people, they read the Bible. They don't read it once. They go back to it every day.
All this that's happening with Biden is part of the plan.
Yes. Yes. Because 17.
I don't, and I can buy that because it looks, it's such a disaster that there's just no way. It's comical, dude.
Absolutely.
But I know they're catching up because of the 4 years they lost with Hillary.
Yeah.
And I know there's things happening behind the scenes because you could just tell, you could just see it.
Yeah. Q always says, or 17 always says that 20% will be in front of the public and 80% will be happening behind the scenes. And at this point, I believe it's even higher because I've also been really down into and I can't even say the word, but the not real people that you're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
That is a fact. There's no question that I've seen a lot of fake people, and we've had the software to actually prove it. We've slowed it down. We've done everything we can to show people.
And on that topic, Todd, sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them. Only.
And I get, I believe in that part. I understand from being a fighter.
Yeah.
You can hit the bag all day. You can hit the mitts all day. You can learn the proper technique, and you get in there, get your ass kicked. You've got to fight to learn how to fight, and it takes your whole lifetime to learn that. You have to have experience. You only learn through experience.
And he does say repeatedly, "Patriots fight."
Yes.
It is not a sit on your butt and just. He says, "Enjoy the show." I believe that we don't get so caught up in it that we're all miserable. Because it's a long battle, it's a spiritual battle, it's an intellectual battle, and their disinformation is necessary. And I believe the times that we've maybe jumped the gun thinking something was going to happen was like in boxing terms, Nina, was like a fake. It was a head fake to see what they would do. You don't just go out there and say, "Hey, I'm going to hit you with my left hand," and then swing with your left.
Yeah, telegraph it.
Right. As well as I do, you duck and weave and fake, and it's an art form, and I believe this is an art form also, and I think it's an art form to save as many people as they can.
So let me just ask. Let me just ask some. Let me start with a basic question, just to get my audience caught up and myself caught up, just so we can start building a foundation here. What is the purpose of 17? What is the purpose of 17 coming out and dropping these comms? And I know this is a very amateur question, but I think it's a necessary one.
It's great.
What is the purpose of this?
So
if it's not a PSYOP.
Okay. So we've gone down the path of what if it is a PSYOP, first of all. Okay. And if it's a PSYOP, they screwed up because they gave us too much information. Like people say that about Alex Jones, like he's a PSYOP. And I'm like, really? Okay. Well, if Alex Jones is a psyop, I don't know for sure. I know he's got some CIA background with his family and things like that, but he was a part of my awakening 14 years ago.
Me too.
Okay. And thank
Yeah.
God for him. And when I see him, I'm going to give him a hug.
I agree.
And even though he's made the claim about Q, he's made the claim that, Q's, doesn't exist. He's made different claims like a lot of other people. And so if it was a psyop, they screwed up big time, because the 17 drops of almost 5,000 communications is the largest information drop in human history. And we're talking about a human history that has been rife with holding back information.
Well, the globalists would have got through this a lot easier if they wouldn't have had given us intel. Why would
absolutely.
they? Why would they put
Absolutely.
information out there for people to? And I understand that. Why would they would just sleepwalk us right into this?
And
What
by
would
the
be
way,
the purpose if it's a psyop? What would be the purpose of waking people up? What would?
and if everybody was
So I
complacent,
understand that.
if everybody was complacent based on the information they're getting, yeah, we're screwed. Doesn't matter whether it's a psyop or whether it's real. But the fact of the matter is, this is a worldwide movement. And even though it centers around the United States, by the way, this is U.S. military intelligence, right? Okay. They're not going to reach out to dudes in England. Okay.
So how did this?
And
How did they?
communicate with them? And let me finish this thought.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Because this is the second revolution. The first revolution, we escaped from Britain. We escaped from the monarch. The second revolution, we're escaping from Britain. Okay.
Right.
Because they enslaved us back in 1871. Okay. They took back control of the United States of America as a corporation. You know that whole story. And that's why I say the indoctrination established 1871, because that's when they had to fool us into thinking that we were still a part of the United States of America that was free. And so this is a U.S. military intelligence, and we got guys from Britain saying that they're talking to them. Okay.
So is this kind of like they caught? So from what one of the theories I've heard about this is that an intelligence within NSA got
Yes.
wind of what the globalists were planning to do to humanity and said, "Hey, man, we better wake humanity up. We better fight against this." And then is that how the number 17 got started, or did it get started with JFK Senior? And because there's all these myths.
Well, okay. So
crazy theories
let's
that are-
let's separate fact from speculation, right?
Okay.
So the speculation is that it started when JFK was assassinated. I normally have a picture of JFK up on my wall, and I'm a big fan. And just he was our last great president. Before people say Reagan was still a part of in my opinion, part of the problem, even though he was trying to free us from the Federal Reserve as well. But until Trump, JFK was the bomb, right? Because he was trying to free us from the Federal Reserve, and that's why they murdered him. So a lot of speculation that it came from there. A lot of speculation that JFK is still alive, that this is his payback. This is him getting back. That's all speculation. Like anybody says JFK's alive, or
That's just a theory.
And by the way, people that pretend to be him piss me off. Okay.
Well, you've told me that. I know
that people that build a whole audience on a lie. I don't care what side of the ocean you're on. Okay. If you build your audience on a lie in the truth community, I've got a problem with you.
Okay.
All right. And
yeah,
so,
I know where you're coming from on that.
okay. So, and I'm not out to embarrass anybody or to divide the truth movement. But if we're going to be in the truth movement, we've got to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Like they say, the truth hurts. Let's go.
Yeah. We've got to hold. And by the way, what I see happening in the truth movement, it shows me how it happened with mainstream media. It shows me why, Anderson Cooper's a sellout and Cuomo's a sellout, because the money, baby. You start putting that money in front of people and the numbers of audience in front of people, and they're going to leave the truth sitting by the side of the road and go in the direction of what's drawing them. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't work for me. And we
always say, don't trade one indoctrination for another.
And I agree with
You
that.
know,
Exactly.
And that's what
Yeah.
that's my main point. I think, you know, when it comes to all these people, I watch them, believe me, and I don't have any ill feelings for any of them.
No.
I just use I use discernment, and that's discussed also in 17.
Yeah.
I don't take anything, you know, 100%. I do my own research, and my research revolves around 17.
Yeah.
And so far, he hasn't let me down.
Well,
or
Todd,
they.
what you're talking about there is the next step, and that's the facts, right? So all that is speculation. The facts are that on October 28th, 2017, on the message board on 4chan, somebody typed out some awesome stuff about Hillary Clinton and Podesta and things that a lot of people already knew about in the truth community. And they were like, oh my God, yes, is this it? Is this going to happen? Is this really going to happen? And, you know, they said 11/3, 11/4 back then. And people thought, oh, it's going to happen next week. It's going to happen in November. No, it didn't. Well, maybe next year. No, it didn't. Next year. No, it didn't. And so there was some credibility lost for people that really didn't understand what was going on or trust that they weren't laying it out for us, you know, plain and simple. This is a puzzle that they have laid out before us of information for us to decipher, and all in a Socratic method of asking questions, putting questions out in the autists and the anons. And autists, by the way, two of my buddies are autists, and when it comes to the internet, they see things I couldn't possibly see. Okay. And Todd has kind of like, when we go do stuff, Todd's got a feel for it. I've got a different feel for it, but we follow what's laid out before us. And I think we should just jump into that, Todd, to show Nino like how we do it, because
Well, hold on. I mean, but I still want this. I still have this question, and it's who is 17? We know it's 10 military, 3 civilian, but
7 military.
7 military. Okay. So did this start? Is it people that were inside? But I'm right in saying that, from what I've heard, they got wind of what the globalist plan is.
Yeah.
And they decided, okay, we need to go against it. We need to figure out a way to go against it, and we need to pick a man. And they picked Trump to go against, or they were going to stage a coup. From what I heard, these are all the theories I've heard, just from what I've heard, they were going to stage a coup, and then they went to Trump and they confronted Trump and said, "We need you to run for president.
Yes.
Will you run for president?" And he said, "Okay, I will." And they mapped it out for him. And am I right in saying this? Is this how it went down? From what?
Yeah. Yes. I think you're accurate up to the point where you said that they facilitated his win. I think what they did there, Nino, and this is my opinion, my speculation, is that all they did was eliminate Hillary's ability to cheat, just like the last election proved.
Yeah.
See,
right. So why didn't they do it this election? Because they want Biden in there?
Because the only way they were going to get rid of this corrupt system was to show how corrupt it is.
Right.
Okay,
sorry.
If they would have put just Trump in for another 4 years, the pillars of power are still there, right? You have a corrupt Supreme Court,
Correct.
You have a corrupt
Correct.
Congress, you have a corrupt judiciary, you have corrupt everything. All these corporations have control.
I can buy that. Okay.
And
I can buy that.
It's my theory that they have to show by doing this, because look, there were big questions with this erection, and the American people wanted to know, and they were disappointed by their Congress people, they were disappointed by their senators, they were disappointed by the judiciary, who wouldn't even take a look at it. You're telling me that the judiciary,
they had to see the level of corruptness.
Yeah.
They have to expose this to people. And it's the only way that I can comprehend that this happened, because then if this was a free democracy, they should have, done the will of the people and looked at this event. And they all
and
turned
then
the
last safety would be the military.
Exactly. It
A
always
faction of the military
that
that is supposed to, at some point, from what we all understand, from what I understand, is supposed to make a move.
Yes.
Okay,
And
but
I believe behind the scenes, and this is speculation also, but based on the drops that I've read and the information that I have, and it's not by anything that anybody else can't get, but I've done a lot of research, and I believe that right now, the reason it's taking so long in our timeline, it's just our timeline. I think in 4 years to undo 1,000 years, perhaps corruption, in slavery, I think 4 years is very fast.
And-
But on our timeline, we feel like we've been suffering and knowing long enough. But I think these guys are smart enough. These people know that they've been, humanity has been enslaved for this long, that they have to get it right. And
Yeah.
they're negotiating deals. They're going to hold people responsible. But they can't, if they jump too soon, they're going to let the rats scatter. I think they're going to have to take them out systematically. And I think they are, based on some people that are not popping up publicly anymore. James Comey, for one. James Comey hasn't tweeted in, I don't know how long, Dave, what, months?
Yeah.
you're right about that.
I think the
he's already
biggest-
taken down.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I think
What about Schiff?
people are missing.
Yeah, I don't see little Adam.
He's not been around.
Pencilneck.
I heard he got arrested in Christmas.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Is that real?
I hear same stuff, and it makes sense. We all think that a lot of people that have disappeared and aren't tweeting anymore, and aren't Tom Hanks hasn't tweeted since May 22nd of last year.
Yeah.
He's had brand new movies come out. Why wouldn't he come out with his
not
14
promoting him,
million
nothing. And I've
followers?
heard from people inside Hollywood, that they think that he's gone.
Why
And-
wouldn't he
Yeah.
tweet and say, "Hey, come see my new movie"? 14 million followers wasted.
And I used to make movies. Part of the contract that you have with an actor is that they have to do so many interviews, they have to do junkets. That's part of the thing. Like if you're paying a Hanks like $30 million, that doesn't just include, 2.5 months of filming, 3 months of filming. It includes junkets, it includes marketing of the whole thing.
You're right.
Going on Jay Leno, back in the day,
Yeah,
going on
bump your movie.
the talk
You know,
shows. Yeah, you got to promote a movie, especially at a time when the film industry needs it more than ever.
He's been fake even on Saturday Night Live. We've dug
We broke that
to
down.
death. I mean, you can see that he's a DF.
Yeah. Now, I think that when 17 says you've got to expose the whole thing, and what Todd was talking about and what you know about is that it's gone all the way to Supreme Court. I mean, we've seen the corruption all the way to the Supreme Court. What do you mean you're not going to hear cases about corruption in the election process, the greatest election of our time, right? And so what do you mean you're not going to hear these cases? Why? Because the Supreme Court is corrupt as well.
Well, look at Lynn Wood calling out Justice Roberts being one of the best attorneys on the planet. He knows he can't get a defamation lawsuit going. And he has no problem standing up and saying that he's been to Epstein Island and he's a, pedophile.
And this is a guy.
And that guy says not one word back.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, "No, I'm not."
Yeah. Doesn't even deny it.
At least say that.
Doesn't even deny it, right?
Right. I mean, it's right there for us, I believe.
What's the thing? Deny, deny, deny. He didn't do it once. He didn't.
Well,
do it once.
if you can't pound the facts, pound the table. That's what they say. If you don't have the facts to stand on, then just start pounding the table and hope it goes away.
Well, guys, okay, so let me go back to the question real quick. Is the intelligence coming from when they created the NSA and they started spying on people? That's when it really backfired on them, right? Because they were also.
Act.
What's that?
The Patriot Act.
Right, the Patriot Act after 9/11. So when they started spying on everybody, that's when these people said, "Hey, we got a problem here," and that's when they found out about all the corrupt individuals within the government, and that's how this all got started.
They blackmailed the whole government.
Yep.
They blackmailed
basically the creation of the NSA, right?
Project Hammer, Bill Binney. Bill Binney's a patriot warrior, genius. He was on Project Hammer, and Hammer was the one that they basically took all of the intelligence, whether it's typed on a keyboard or spoken on a phone, and they can sift through it and find whatever they want to find on anybody. That was turned against the American people, including
Right, but it backfired on them.
Yes.
That's how number 17 got started, right? It's because
now it is, yeah.
Mhm.
because then in a sense, the what is it? The hunters become the hunted. They started
Yes.
looking at them. The good guys,
We have
white
it all.
hats. Yeah, white hats know it all. Right. From that,
Yep,
right? From
yep. That's how they know it. Yes, I believe they took over the operation of Hammer.
okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a major question that I had. So that's answered. So
Mhm.
basically they found out through the Patriot Act when they were doing all the illegal spying on American citizens. That's when the hunters became the hunted, in a sense.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
they always say, there's more good people than bad.
Right.
That's always referenced in the drops.
Yep.
And not everybody's
1%.
compromised. There's a percentage of the leadership of the whole planet that is compromised so badly, and they've had to do such horrible things that they can't get out of it.
Right.
And so it's a blackmail operation. Look back at Hugh Hefner. Do you think, Playboy was a psyop? Playboy was a thing to draw people in. A lot
Yeah.
of political leaders, actors, everybody went there, went to the mansion. They got filmed doing things they weren't supposed to. All of a sudden, bang, they had to comply.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Now the real story.
Now we got the film. Now we-
Gotta
This
Oh,
is when it gets
I was there for
good.
3 days.
go.
Yeah, I was there. I got
They
lost.
couldn't get me to leave.
Yeah.
We only have so much time, right, Nino?
Do I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
have
we
to
can't
know?
get into all those stories. That'll be
Everybody
a-
knows I'm no saint.
Hey guys, you got to go to Nino TV after hours for that one.
That's great.
$9.99 a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Too funny.
Yeah. So the basically, everything that they've used against us, we've used against them, and it backfired. I mean, look at Facebook, look at Twitter, look at YouTube. Okay. We're using their tools of surveillance and an absolute, invasion of our privacy that we handed over like, a bunch of idiots to people we don't know, we don't trust. If somebody came up to your door and you're not going to hand them over your books and books of picture books of your family. But yet we did that to Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
We did it with these people, and yet we're now turning the tables. And I just saw something on, we use the CCP pronunciation, erection. I just saw, the woman who's trying to stop it in Arizona, and somebody tracked her down, had his phone, recording, saying, hey, how come you're trying to stop this? How come you're trying to stop this? And 17 said they won't be able to walk down the street.
Did you see Mitt Romney getting booed in Utah?
Yeah.
Yes.
That
We're
was
seeing
it. Did
it
you see
play
Lindsey
out.
Graham?
Yep.
Or,
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham gets like yelled at in the airport and screamed
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's what I
and-
said.
And
Yeah.
those are the people that are making the decisions that aren't going to be able to walk down the street. The other people that aren't going to be able to walk down the street are the people that are hiding them from us.
Right.
And that's
And celebrities.
all the
That
celebrities,
back this horse shit.
all the media, all the sports figures. Come on, man.
Oh, I know.
LeBron, I'm sorry,
Well,
brother. You screwed
I
up,
knocked
man.
out LeBron's first cousin in front of his whole family.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Robert Davis. He was actually tough, but yeah, I knocked him out in the third round. But
As if I couldn't like you anymore.
yeah. And then I told him, I go, give LeBron a kiss for me.
Oh,
Nice.
that's awesome.
That's awesome. So the sports, MLB, all these sports, they're losing their viewership and they're losing their cachet, and people, they're not getting away with it. Don't apologize about the CCP just because it's going to get you $100 million in China. I'm sorry. Do some homework as to what they're really doing, and then don't pretend like you're a human rights activist.
Yeah.
Okay. So these people, we're seeing through them now. I mean, and think about this. Now, I say this all the time on our broadcast, and I say, you know, there has been, and I've been awake, like I said, 14 years, and I've always seen this revolution as being really bloody. And I honestly thought I was going to have to pick up weapons at some point. And now that I realize all I had to do was pick up this and this, you know, I knew my weapon was going to be black. I didn't know it was going to look like this. And that's what has caused the Great Awakening. And yes, there are casualties to every revolution. Yet I believe that this revolution will see the fewest amount of casualties of any revolution.
I think except for this,
and
I
that
think that's massive.
Yes. And by the way, I think the people that we've already lost are going, those are casualties of war. And God bless them all. And I'm sorry for the indoctrination.
Well, we don't even know yet. I mean, in a year from now,
we
2
don't know
years
what
from
it's
now,
going to
3
look
years-
like.
Right. We don't know.
We don't. And it could be a lot more casualties.
A whole lot more
than we thought.
Right.
Right.
And then that's what I'm getting at. I think that's going to be, and then people are going to go back to Trump and say, well, he said to take it too. And they're going to get, I'm going to be honest with you. That's the one thing where I'm like, okay, hold on. Just take a step back. Why is he endorsing this shit?
Yeah. That pissed me off.
Sorry. That's where my mind, that's just the one
Yep.
place where I skip. I go, nah. Something's up, man.
That pissed me off about him and in that he went at it the way he did, because I defended him all the way through his presidency. And I said, and people would say, why is he talking about the jab? And I said, well, listen, he talks about the jab, then he talks about therapeutics. Then he talked about some jabs, then specific therapeutics, then the jab, and then really specific therapeutics. Then at some point late in his term, he put the therapeutics before the jab. And I said,
remember that. I remember that.
okay, because here's the thing. If he had not allowed a jab, if he had not have brought a jab forward,
they would have eaten him alive.
they would have eaten him alive. They would have, the Dems would have come up with it. They would have been heroes to the people who were demanding it, because as much indoctrination that people have experienced in the medical community and the way that this is being thrust upon them and the fear that is being thrust upon humanity, they're not thinking in their left brain, logical brain. They're either thinking in the right brain, you know, emotional, or amygdala, you know, which is their fight or flight. And so they're running to get this thing. And so if you don't provide them the option, that's no freedom either.
So it is free will.
You gotta, it's got to boil down to it, you know, and it's got to also. Go ahead, Todd.
Everybody's got to be responsible for their own existence, their own choices, and their own actions. They're actually, you know, it's a way of preventing another indoctrination to happen. And it's not a good way. I'm not saying it's a great way. I don't know everything about this plan. I'll be the first one to admit, but I'm just going as, you know, like you said, it's a really, really hard puzzle, but here's why I think we're close. And I think there could be an out. You know, like we said, the poor souls that have taken it and died now, there's no bringing them back. But I believe if we're close enough to where we are slowing down taking the jab as a country, I believe, now that we've had the Johnson & Johnson pause, and we've had the AstraZeneca problems with the blood clots. I think that people are hesitant now. I don't think the people that were begging for the jab already have it.
Yeah.
It's been available. I don't think as many are taking it. I think they're starting to tap the brakes. But I also believe that there's another thing that we're missing here. And I think that this is relevant in the fact that when President Trump put all those companies that were supposed to be building the ventilators, do you really think that 4 major factories were building these ventilators that are worthless for this disease?
No.
I heard
I
they were for
believe that-
I heard it was for children. That's what I heard. The kids are bringing up from the tunnels.
Yeah, I believe that, you know, it's a fact that 6,000 medical patents have been held from us. I believe that because
From
they
my
did not-
understanding, the whole he knew this whole I don't know even the words I can use because I know this is going on YouTube, but the whole COVID thing was coming. Geez, I just have to use it. And they used that as an opportunity to begin. And now I heard this is legit to begin the rescuing the children out of the tunnels or the tunnel wars, what you would call them, the tunnel wars.
Yep.
Because the deep underground military bases down there are bad. And I've heard they're
Yep.
real bad.
Yeah.
it
And
makes a
I mean,
lot of
scary
sense.
bad.
It makes a lot of
So,
sense. And I
yeah,
also
I heard
believe,
they used the lockdowns. They intercepted this, and they used it to wage wars on the tunnels. That's when all the earthquakes were happening. Remember when it first started, the lockdowns?
yes,
How many earthquakes did we have? They were all over the place, and in the most
Yes.
random places, and they're all the same strength.
Yeah.
So it's
10
like
10 meters deep, same strength and no sine
Right.
wave, which is
and people are hearing
weird.
explosions going off in Washington D.C. and now all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's flooding in Washington
Yeah.
D.C. I mean, if you just put these little pieces of information together yourself, you kind of you get the picture. You start getting it, and
Yes.
you go, okay, something's going on here
Right.
because there is something going on in Washington. There was explosions heard there, and then all of a sudden flooding. The flooding to me is they're washing out the tunnels.
I
They're
believe
drowning
so
the
too.
tunnels.
I can't argue that. I don't come up with any other way of explaining it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's pure speculation. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, look at all the smoke. My guess
Yeah.
is there's a fire there, right?
Right.
And now we got like the water in DC. Watch the water, right? And Todd just the other night, he went on. And by the way, all the DC cams are down. The live cams are
Interesting.
down. They arrested
They
Richard
went off
Citizen
on
journalist.
the night of Joe Biden's speech. They went off and they just started popping on randomly just yesterday. But there's still some views that are gone. And also, just to clear off that one last thought about what they were building, and this is speculation, but I believe that they're building things that may be able to help some of the people that have taken this jab.
I hope so.
And that's my hope.
That's the hope, yeah.
I'll give hopium sometimes. I'll tell you it's hopium, but I believe that Donald Trump's uncle did work at MIT, did get his hands on Tesla's notes.
Yep.
And if there was anything in there, which I pray there is, that could reverse this, that's what I'm hoping they were actually building. And right now we're buying time to get this through with less casualties as they can.
Yep.
And hopefully at the end of it, it's, Trump comes out looking good for bringing the med beds out or whatever it is that cures this, reverses what the damage has been done.
So my thoughts on this too is that we don't have 4 years with this guy. I hope this exposing shit doesn't go on for 4 years.
No.
I'm saying 2021 and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll give it half into 2022, maybe, but I'm all about 2021. There's no way.
I just said last night, if we're going to 2024, I'm not voting for Trump.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Too old at that
Well,
point.
the other thing, guys,
I mean, it's
you gotta
just not, he
remember
didn't get
is
it done.
Right.
At
He didn't
one
get it
point
done.
during these drops, they started going backwards. And Dave and I, one night we were talking and I just looked at them and they started making sense going backwards. And as we're getting intelligence now, Nino, we're getting lower on the number of drops, which means we're coming to the end of the drops again. So we went up when we went up to like 4,900.
How
and
many
now
drops
we're
are there?
Right around 40.
4,953.
Okay, so there's 4,000. How many have come to pass? Or how
Oh.
many have? I don't even know how to.
God.
Yeah.
Well, they predicted Antifa like in the riots 2 years previous.
yeah.
They predicted the National Guard in at least a dozen states 2 years previous. I mean, those are pretty bold predictions since in my lifetime, I've never seen the National Guard activated or even heard of Antifa until they started coming out,
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that he predicted. And as we get led to other drops through timestamps that we're getting today that lead us directly to drops, it makes sense in today's news.
Yep.
It's amazing. It talks about John Kerry and the Iran nuclear deal and all this stuff. And it's from Pompeo's tweet, a timestamp. And we
Yep.
see it every day. And I do this every day. So I'm seeing this, and it's, you can even take the news and plug it in and say, you know, like we did with the Syria thing, Dave, when we bombed that, when our military hit Syria, northern Syria, where we think Iran had a nuclear plant, and our
Yep.
military took it out. The good guys claimed that the next day on the board.
Yeah, they led us right to it. And,
Right to it.
and that's how we knew it was a white hat operation. It wasn't because we had some deep inside intel. It's that the people that we pay attention to, which is POTUS, which Trump, Dan Scavino, and Pompeo primarily, those are the timestamps we pay attention to.
And the military forces.
And the military board tweets, because we really got into the military very recently, even more than we were. And that was, and so then we follow the timestamps into the board, and because that's how they're communicating with us now. See, 17 doesn't need to keep communicating. All the information is there. We just need to know how to access it. And that's what 17 meant by learn our comms.
And news unlocks the map.
Yes,
See,
that is
a vital statement. And you'll see that repeated a lot in 17. News unlocks the map, future proves the past.
Yeah.
And this, it can't be coincidence. We do this daily, where we get hit right between the eyes with a news event, and we'll go to a timestamp or a delta, you know, the 1, 2, or 3 year delta.
Oh, can you explain that to me then? Because how do you do it? I want to know how you do it.
Well,
so let's say how do you go look at the comms and compare and figure out what's going on that day? Like how do you, I mean, I see people on my Instagram putting dates and then with a circle around it, leading with a line to this date. Like, and I'm just, a lot of people just look at that first glance and go, bunch of bullshit.
Here's a good
Explain
one
this
for
to
you,
me.
Dave. Or here's a good one for you, Nino.
Okay.
And this is a very good one. We all know that Donald Trump has a new way of communicating called from the desk of Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
And it started on 5-5. So loud and clear, right? That's what 5-5 military
5-5 means.
loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know through the numbers, they're using the satanic numbers and the power that they believe they get for their, triple 13 is 39. That's why they have the launch pads down in Cape Canaveral are both 39A and 39B, because it's satanic. They've used the triple numbers as power, and that's why they like 33. And anyway, I won't go down that road, but I just wanted to share that with you that it was on 5/5/2021. What's 2 + 2 + 1? It's 5.
Right.
So there you have triple 5s right there. And then, so that to me was important. I said, and I was talking to our producer, Christy, today about it. And I said, we've got to dig into that. So we started looking at it. So I went to the board with Desk.
Can you show me the board on here?
Yeah, I'm going to show you now.
Yeah, put all that for him. And
so you know, Nino, we use a site called qalerts.app. There's a few different ones, but the one we prefer is qalerts.app. And so people could go to 8kun and follow the boards, but it's really complicated. But there's a lot of great patriots that have put out some great information. qag.news is another site. We used to use qmap.pub, and they were taken down in their attempt at taking 17 down. By the way, one of the things that solidifies that 17 is the real deal is look at what the mainstream media is doing to attack 17.
Yeah, the
right?
HBO documentary said some guy in his basement's doing it.
Yeah, and then also if you look,
that guy's brilliant.
They took down 4chan, they took down 8chan. Okay. They compromised those. They had to jump to 8kun. And they even have there's people out there like Austin Steinbart, by the way. I know you had him on the show. Total fraud. Like not even, I mean, because there's no outside comms, period. End of story. I
Yeah.
haven't given him the time of day.
Right.
Be-
Right. No, I mean, you know, I had him on because, hell, I mean, I
Well-
know he's not. I know he's not.
Here's the
17
thing.
and just you got to put it all out there, man.
Here's the thing, brother. I'm not saying that to discredit you or your show.
Right. Right.
Because you put people, you say to your audience, judge for yourself. Here they are.
Right.
Judge for yourself. I know that, you know, you and I are having conversations about some of these people, and I know that they're also
Oh, I don't
saying-
believe. I 100%. I don't believe Austin 17 at all.
Good. Cool.
So
So-
hell no, dude. Fuck. Come on.
So that the desk, we went from are you seeing from the desk of Donald Trump right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And then last night we went to this, and then Todd, I'm gonna have you give me the new number here. I'm sorry, I got to pull this down here. So we go to here and we go to 3627. Okay. Which is one of the number of the drop,
What does that mean right there? That's the drop number.
the drop number. Yeah. Out
Okay.
of 4,900 and
And there is no more after
53.
4,900, whatever the number is. There's no more after that. That's
Right.
just that's the amount there is, and that's that.
well,
Right.
now
Right.
we haven't,
December 8th, there was the last Q 17 drop, and that was made at 4,953.
and so yes, thank you, Cindy. And we're also that could change anytime. But the fact of the matter is that if 17 needed to communicate with us, 17 wouldn't go through somebody else. And if they did, if 17 came to me and said, hey, you know, I like what you're doing, I'm 7, right? I'd say, okay, why are you contacting me? You want to reach my audience? And the answer would be yes, unless they wanted me to teach them how to, you know, shoot a jump shot or something, right? Okay. And so, all right, so we got two problems. One is we have a credibility issue because you said no outside comms. Okay. And two is the board is still available. You can drop on 8kun at any time
Right.
and communicate with us. And you're communicating through us with Pompeo and Scavino and Trump. What do you need? And our military, what do you need me for? Right. And so, and then if they did say, well, we have a special message we need to get out or whatever, then I'd say, well, you got to give me something that's going to show you credible, and you have to give me the reason why you're coming through me.
Like Hillary's ring finger or something.
Go to the mattresses. Godfather 3. Hey, that is in one of the 17 drops.
Yeah.
That is true.
So,
So,
hold on, let's go back to that number real quick.
Here's that
So
drop,
how do you
brother.
know yeah,
So future-
3627. So how do you know to go there? Like what would make you go to that drop?
You use news, unlocks the map. The news is that Donald Trump is now writing from his desk. So you type desk into the toolbar.
Okay.
See that
it'll-
right there, the search
and-
bar.
and it'll search desk, and everywhere it appears in a drop, it'll pop up. And they do that a lot. They've done it recently with a lot of things. You know, missiles, bombings, explosions,
Wait, so
earthquakes.
Hold on.
So you're using the toolbar and punching the news into it.
Yeah.
But that's just the new, like, why would you punch in desk? Because you
So-
saw Donald Trump at his desk?
So I wouldn't say this is the greatest example, but we're going to show you some others because we don't often use the words, we use numbers. Okay.
Okay, that would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because
So, but the news does unlock the map. So sometimes the news is relevant. And so here, a future trip regarding Verify, notebook, pen, watch, desk, a non-interaction coming soon, which here we have notebook, pen, watch, desk, a non-interaction coming soon. He just dropped this from the desk of Donald Trump is basically his tweets
so this is today.
on his website. Yes,
This is today.
this one, Josh Howley, but his first drop, I think, was
On
March
5/5, I
6th,
believe. Or was it 6th?
March 5th, March.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sorry,
why I
May,
came
May,
up
May.
with 5-5.
May 4th was the first one. Okay.
But
But
what did he say? Like, what was so?
Oh, this is good.
Oh, so this. Okay, let me see this. That's Mar-a-Lago, right?
yeah,
And he just put this up.
May 4th.
Oh, that's his internet. That's his.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
notice
this
it
is,
doesn't say former President Trump.
yeah, President Donald J. Trump too. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so then he has a few more on the 5th. And then so basically we started looking here, and then Christy went to desk in the drop, and then we saw that and we're like, okay. Now here's the thing I want to say about this: whether you use a number or whether you use a name or a word, what you're going to find out very quickly is if you're on the right track, because you could hit a dead end really quickly, and then you're like, okay, that didn't mean anything, because not every single thing that comes out of his mouth or comes out of a Scavino tweet goes right to the board, right?
It's normally the first tweet or the last tweet of the night. That's what I found. They're the most important.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Todd, where did you want to go from here?
You're not showing the blue number up by your chain. Why is that?
I don't know. I was wondering where the heck that was.
Because that's the next go-to.
That's really odd. So by the way, hitting the blue chain takes you to the board. This is what the board looks like.
Okay.
Future, notebook, pen, watch, desk. Now what you'll get on here is a lot of here you got rig for red. You'll get a lot of anon feedback and autist feedback, right? Was General Flynn the original bait to get this whole operation underway? This movie is getting good. So you get a lot of anon feedback on stuff like this. But what we normally do is we have, you know what, Todd, I'm going to type in 3627 and see if that's going to solve the problem here. There's always a number next to this blue, and it's not on mine now.
It's up on mine.
That's weird. Let me refresh and see if that's causing the problem. Let me stop screen sharing and see if it's on without the screen share. That's really odd, dude.
Very.
All right. Let me go to 2038 and see if that pops up. All right. You know what? Let me go to I wonder if this browser, because I don't normally use this browser. Let me try the other browser here.
Yeah, because this gives us the next 5 drops to go to.
Yeah. So what I've been doing, Nino, yeah, they're up. Okay, it's the browser. All right, let me get to another browser here. I have to use different browsers. I got to use a VPN. So I'm trying to get because I have to get back into YouTube and stuff like that, from being shut down. Okay, let me get to this, and let me share. This should do it. All right, you seeing my board?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me get it over here. And we'll go to 3627. Try it again. Okay, now let me make it a little bit bigger. Let me know when you can see it well, okay?
I can see it.
Okay. All right, Todd. We're at okay, go ahead and talk about the ID and how we go to the blue.
Okay, so if you see in the blue there, you see a series of numbers. And we have been doing this a lot, and those numbers are a continuation of the drop. They are not represented as such, but they have proven in the past in the past year, they've been very relevant, leading us to the next crumb, if you must, you know, the breadcrumb.
Yeah.
So the first number you see there is 736. And the reason I didn't go 7366, Nino, is because there weren't that many drops.
Okay.
So I stopped at the 3 numbers, and then I take a look to see if it's relevant.
And 736 takes us to February 11th, 2018. And HA is said to refer to Abaddon. In other words, Abaddon, yeah. And whose, you know, family's Muslim Brotherhood back in Iran. She's part of the infiltration of our government by the Muslim Brotherhood and
Right.
also Barack Obama. So in the Q Bible, and by the way, this PNG is ha ha. In the Q Bible, this is the second shortest sentence. The first to come, we won. Ha 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 equals Huma Abaddon question mark. Okay, now, so we see that's February 11th, 2018. Okay. And that's a question 217. And it says double meanings work well against sniffers. Okay. Now, when we first saw that, it's, you know, sniffers could be the black hats coming in to try to figure out what's going on, and they don't know which meaning that 17's thrown out. And it also, we think it might refer to Biden.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So if you
that-
take that into context, the first to come, we won. They're telling us they know we won the election.
Mm-hmm.
Double meanings work well against sniffers. That's also the AI programs that they're using, sniffer programs that you know,
Yeah.
use to wipe us out.
Right.
Whether they're activated by, you know, numbers, by voice, or words, they're using AI programs. They're not listening to everybody speak and then dropping them.
Right.
Maybe they might do that to the big channels, but they're using the AI to get rid of smaller channels even.
Yeah. And by the way, that we can't link to that. A lot of the links in the 17 are gone.
So how do you get to the comms? Like,
So
how would you get to a comm? Is it like, how would you get there? Like, you just go on Google. I mean, how do you get to the comms?
So we go to the board that we go to is qalerts.app.
So it's an app.
It's a website. It's a website. Okay. And qalerts.app. And by the way, if you try to share this in Facebook or on anything, any social
Yeah,
media,
they bomb you.
it won't go.
Oh wow. Okay.
It
They
won't
won't
go.
let you send it. So that's more ammunition spent. Nino, you know, why would they,
Yep.
if it's a LARP, why don't they just let us go with it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You're
You know,
not
why
going to.
why are they doing whole shows about it? You know, why are they doing Netflix shows and cartoons and everything to make it look so outrageous if it is? Just let it go.
Correct.
It's going to go away, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to fight a guy that has no chance of beating you. You're not going to fight a welterweight that you can, you know, you could flick off your
Right.
back like a fly, right?
Well, yeah, they're obviously very threatened. It's
Very.
I mean,
Very
Yes.
threatening.
so what? Can you guys explain to me more about game theory? When you say game theory, Dave,
Yeah.
Oh, here we
I-
go.
explain that to me. What is so? That's what 17 is using. Game theory.
Yeah, there's a okay, so on this same drop, if you look at the top, you'll see the timestamp is 7:38. And since
Yeah.
7:36 was
over
already
here.
used, see the 7:36 in the blue
Right here on the
that
left
we
here.
just went to, and then 7:38 is in the timestamp.
Yeah.
By game theory, we can add 737 to it because it completes the thought. It's the progression.
Okay.
And and I haven't looked down this yet. Todd has, but over here we have 737 here. See
Yeah.
this? and this is 740.
So we're 739.
So, well, here's the thing. They don't give them all to us, but they want us to fill in those blanks. Okay.
Yeah.
So
they
in other
explain
words,
it
because look at this. So this is November.
Why would they
20
make this so complicated for everybody?
because they don't want to just come out and tell people because they're going to be telling the other side too. That's why they won't give us the end date. You know,
Yeah.
and what's really going to happen? All they're
So
doing
they're
is
covering their
letting-
ass, basically. This is
Well,
like
all they're-
they
all-
need the
all-
information to get to the public, but they
They
got to
don't
do
want
it.
us freaking out. They don't want us freaking out. I think it's
And that's
just
what's
that-
and that's why it's called game theory.
and they're calming us down so that and you know you take it as maybe
Ah.
complacency, but it's so that if we didn't have this, I would probably already have done something stupid.
No, you're right. You're right. So this, in a sense, is letting the public know we're in the fight. We are in the fight,
Yes,
and we've gotten the Patriot. Like they say, Patriots are in control.
absolutely.
This has calmed down a lot of people because there's a lot of people that would be going nuts right now if they didn't have this.
There are
Yeah.
a couple posts out of the almost 5,000 that talk about it directly. What our job is to do. We're to inform and we're to calm the masses. And it didn't mean make them sit on the couch and not do anything, because it does say Patriots fight. But they mean don't do anything stupid. Like I've already had people tell me stupid shit they were going to do, and I said no, because you don't know who you're going to be doing it to, and you don't
Yep.
know what they're going to come back at you with.
Here's
You
the
know,
thing.
Who do you fight?
Yeah. You know, what I love about this, the three of us here is all three of us are former professional athletes. Right. And my Todd baseball, me basketball, you boxing. And when we'd call a timeout in the game and we'd huddle up and try to figure out how we're going to win this game, the only people that were getting the play were the people that had to know what needed to be done. Okay. All the team on the bench, because they can help out, and the guys bringing us water, and the coaches, nobody else, not the fans, not the scoreboard. Okay. And the same thing with you in the ring. What you guys are talking about, you know, in between rounds, right? What Todd's talking about with his catcher. Okay. We've got to communicate, right? But we only communicate with those who absolutely need to know. Why is 17 giving us 5,000 drops of just beautiful information that has been kept from the public by the mainstream media and politicians, Hollywood, the whole bit? And why are they doing that? Because 17 needs us. But that's also why 17 said, learn our comms, right? Learn our comms, no outside comms. Don't get distracted by outside comms that think they know when and where and how, and think they have somebody, a great source that told them that they called me and said this. No, because that's disinformation, misinformation. Why is 17 giving us all this? Because 17 needs us to engage with this. And that's what I believe with all these drops. And 17 needs us to figure this stuff out. Now, have the Black Hats figured out some of this? Absolutely. Okay. And I'll tell you another thing that the Black Hats know that I'm going to tell you right now is that tomorrow may be a big week. I'm sorry, next week may be a big week, right? And because a lot of the comms are showing us that. But I'll also
Why is
say
that?
this.
What are they saying? What are they showing?
Boom week ahead.
But they've said that before.
Exactly. And every Friday that comes around, think about the deep state. Think about the people that are sweating, you know, like crazy. Every Friday that comes around, they're like, oh my God, is this going to be the last time I say goodbye to my family? Is this going to be the last time I see my friends? Is this going to be the last time I play tennis? Is this going to, you know, and they don't know when it's going to happen. And you know, like you just said, you can't telegraph your punch. right? And for the millennials, telegraph used to be a way to we communicated,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so that's the 10th. And this is when the audits are supposed to become, they're supposed to end this week, right?
yeah,
Next week.
next week. So, so here's the thing. So I've said that before, like Todd and I have said, hey, it may be this weekend, guys. All right. But it may not, because
And when
there's
you
a-
say this weekend, and that means the boom, 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 that means taking them down,
yeah.
or just something big eventful happens that week that, what,
Well,
you're
again,
saying it might be this week. What are you referring to?
there may be a major arrest.
Okay.
There may be an exposure. It may start the 10 days of darkness, right?
That was supposed to happen many, many times. A lot of people,
Yep.
And those were the head fakes and the punches, the fake punches
Yep.
to see what the reaction, because if you look at this like a game of chess, are we playing with a bunch of people that are going to just play the game and walk away and say, oh, we lost? Or are they going to be the ones that grab the table and, and throw the whole table on the floor with everything and just want to blow everything up? And I think we're dealing with the latter. So I think that's why we're going with such caution.
Yeah.
And letting this farce of a presidency go even this far is nauseating to me. But I think it's nauseating on purpose, because we don't ever want to be in this position again. Once we get our freedom back, once all this comes out, what we want to be back where we were in 1776 with a fresh start and freedom for everyone, and not all this regulation and this taxation and all this crap that has held us down for thousands of years, I believe. I think it goes back to the Khazarian mafia.
Yeah, you got to surgically dismantle these people.
And it all has to come down. The whole fucking freaking stinking.
Yeah. And the more I think about it, guys, and it's true, the way to take them all down, you would have to expose all the corruptness, which would mean let them in the front door with a fraudulent election. Let let Congress certify it. Let the Supreme Court certify it. That would be the only way. But it's painful. It's painful to live in this reality, especially with people who are not even remotely awake.
Yes.
I mean, there's just some people you're not gonna be able to save. I mean, I'm starting to realize that.
Yeah, 6 to 8%, they say, will never recover.
Fuck, I think it's bigger than that.
I know it feels that way. I agree with you. It feels that way, but I'm kind of going along with 17's numbers because I think they're a lot smarter than me.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people will have a long time to recover over this, a lot of healing to do. We'll have to do it as a humanity. It's going back to taking care of your brother, not being his keeper, but giving him a hand up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Juan wants, I like what he says. It's not to be your brother's keeper, but to be your brother's friend and in humanity. And that's what we're lacking right now.
Enjoy the show. I'm dropping here. By the way, boom week ahead. We were this is only the start, by the way. Like, when this does happen, it's not going to be like, okay, that happened, it's all over. No, that's the start of the cleansing of the cabal from this planet. And that's not going to be pretty, because people are their minds are going to explode. 17 has said, if they knew all, 99% of the planet would be hospitalized, 99%. But I'm going down through enjoy the show, because that everyone's heard that. But the reason why I believe that 17 has said it so many times, enjoy the show, is because 17, and by the way, we can do, more shows together. We can show you specific examples where you would have a very difficult time trying to convince anybody that 17 has not seen the future. There's no question in my mind.
That's looking glass technology, or Tesla's technology, or it's
Yellow Cube,
quantum,
AI.
Yellow Cube,
AI. Okay.
AI,
there is no question in my mind that the group that has put this together has seen the future. So they've also seen humanity's reaction to the cleansing of the cabal from this planet, and has also seen how we're going to have to enjoy. Why do you have to tell somebody to enjoy the show this many times? Because they're not going to get it. So you want them to enjoy it. It's almost like, some of these movies that are so confusing, you got to watch them multiple times just to figure them out. Look how many times enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show. What show? How about the fact that the Biden that we watch every day isn't the same Biden that was in Congress for
No doubt.
47 years?
No doubt.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
How about
Yeah.
the fact that these people aren't getting on Air Force One and going anywhere? How about the fact that the vice president isn't in the house that she's supposed to be living in? Right? This is all enjoy the show. Look how many times. And it's not just sit back and eat your popcorn and enjoy the show, but engage. Like Todd said, it's said many times. Q has said many times, and it still goes on, by the way. I'm not even going to do the whole thing, but Todd said many times, just said earlier that fight patriots, fight. Like, this isn't about like sit back on your couch. This is fight patriots. And look at the people around the world, like some of the drops show people saying, where we go one, we go all. I got a lovely Snedhead made this for me, made this quilt, this American flag, where we go one, we go all. And, around the world, people are doing this. And you have, and we have, viewers from around the world that are so excited about this because they know that America, the United States of America, is the last bastion of freedom because we still have the
This is
guns.
it. We lose this, it's a wrap.
Yep.
Absolutely. We are the last shining light on the hill. Once
Yeah.
they extinguish, if they were to extinguish us, they would get their mass extinction event. And that's what caused the Q team to start, I believe, is because they saw that, the Georgia Guidestones saying 500 million, no more. Out of 7.3 billion, they're going to kill that many people. We can't let it happen.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a bloody thing where they just did it, or it was going to be this, and you can call this a psyop because it is, but it's not a negative psyop. It's an information sharing mechanism. And once you know how to use it, it's unbelievable. Nino, I'm telling you, I've never been more positive, and I've never been more at ease and calm to know that I'm getting this information.
And to kind of add an exclamation point to what Todd just said, you've been awake a long time, since 9/11. I wasn't even awake to that whole thing. I was like, yeah, we're going to Afghanistan. Yeah, we're going to,
No, it was a few years after 9/11 actually that I started waking up.
Okay. So mine was, 2007. And so, but when 17 started dropping in 2017, because I was miserable before then. I was like the guy that nobody wanted to talk to because I was trying to wake them up to what was going on. And we joke about it.
I'm with you. I feel your pain.
I was alone.
The barbecue, the guy at the barbecue, the meme where the
weird guy at the barbecue.
Yeah.
That was me.
Dave.
I ate alone.
Don't let Dave trap you.
And now look, you got a whole platform and an audience. Crazy people got.
My friends used to talk to each other like your opponent's managers were talking to them. Don't let Dave get you in the corner. You won't escape.
Fight.
No, it's brutal. It's brutal to be awake. It's lonely.
It is very, very tough.
And so, Nino, when this started dropping, man, when 17 started dropping, I had found my home, I'd found like, oh my gosh. And so to take the drops and to dive into them is, it takes time. Some of our shows have gone 8 hours. Okay. 7 hours, 6 hours. Last night we did 4 hours, and
That's
I've been
scripted.
And it's just because we go into this thing and you see, and people are like, because like, I'll start with the news and I'll do a bunch of news and a lot of stuff. And a lot of it's kind of depressing, because people are like, oh, more stuff on the jab and more stuff on this and that. And then, I have, Todd and Cindy call in and we, shoot the shit a little bit, have some fun. And then we go in to, the dives in the news. And then we start going into this. And by the end of the show, people are like fired up because it gives them hope. And it's not like, hey, I got a call and, it's going to happen tomorrow at noon. No, it's about look at the communication level that this military intelligence operation, by the way, it's only 10 people that know everything. I think it's more people involved.
That's the people that's behind the firewall.
Yeah.
Right.
10 people know everything. You can count them on two hands. But beyond that, I think there's a lot of support to those 10 people. But they can't say anything. I told you, I got a dude on the pretty close to the inside. He can't tell me anything.
Right.
I mean, it's like, and I've been involved with this whole financial thing, the reset, not the reset, but the global currency, the good one. I've had projects in with groups on that thing for over 12 years. And I can't talk about it.
You're correct. Right.
I mean, you can't.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so that's why no outside comms. Certainly we're going to try to find out, hey, what's Richard, citizen journalist, doing downtown DC? What's going on with the water and all this? Yeah. I'm not saying shut off the tap from any outside information, but notice that the only outside information about Q 17, the only outside information that we're getting is disappointing people, because the outside information is saying this date,
right,
this event, that place.
And I agree with that. Yeah.
And that's getting people down, man.
Yeah.
And that's the
100%.
that's the hopium that people are like, oh, and then they're let down and then their hopes are crushed. And that's no good, man. That's crushing the truth movement.
Yep.
And when
I've had guests that are guilty of that, and I've even been guilty of it. So I've told everybody, I said, listen, I'm not trying to move the goalpost back 10 yards every time anymore. I know I'm in this for the long game.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to put the pieces together, eat the meat, throw away the bones. That's what I'm going to bring my audience. That's why I'd like to do this show with you, because I have to explore everything. I can't,
and you do.
No stone unturned.
Yep. And I made a mistake last night on something. I can't wait to get back in front of the, Snedheads and say, hey, my bad. I misinterpreted this. Right. So, and I've seen you do that too. So,
yeah, I fuck up all the time, but I mean, it is what it is. At least I tell everyone this. I didn't go to school for journalism. I didn't do any. What I do have is a backbone.
Yeah.
And I come out and I put my ass out there.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. Too many people are scared to speak up. So I'll be the guy to do it. I have no problem. I'll be their voice. I have no problem with that. That's why shows like this are so important. I'm not scared to explore all these different directions and go different. I turn over this stone, nothing there. Turn over this stone, nothing there. Turn over this. Oh, there's something here. The audience has to have something to go with, because a lot of people don't have time to go and look at these comms, and they have kids and they go to work and they and that's, so that's how I look at it now.
Part of the indoctrination is, get you so busy in life not to be able to enjoy it. That's what a slave does. What's the difference?
Exactly. This is total slavery. I agree.
And that's why the Great Awakening happened, because people went home and had some time on their hands.
Once again, it backfired on them.
Oh, hell yeah. They rushed. That's why I think people say, oh, I can't wait till 2020 is over. I'm like, hey guys, if we don't relish 2020 for what it was, the Great Awakening, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
People went home, they got in front of their computers and they listened to us. They listened to you. They discovered all these cats out there that are pushing information, and some of them have been doing it a long time. And have been putting it out there longer, back to Q or back, before. And so, this is, last year was, and this whole CV was so valuable, not just to, we talked about breaking down the system. Todd, by the way, I was trying to find that system. We got a dismantled whole system drop and I couldn't find it.
Oh, the drop down the whole disease temple.
Yeah. Well, that was the movie, but the one that 17 says, but basically look at what's happening to Western medicine right now. Okay. They're losing it, just like Hollywood, just like, professional sports. Western medicine, thank God for Western medicine for some of the things that it's capable of doing, but stop pretending like you've got all the answers.
Yeah.
You don't. Our bodies have more answers than the best doctor on the planet.
100%. And highly intelligent.
Highly intelligent. And yet we're dumbing down that intelligence now with this software that's being implanted into us.
Man,
we're
wearing a
look at
mask,
how
washing
Gates
your
is.
hands every 5 seconds.
Oh,
Germs
God.
build your immune system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not getting enough oxygen because we're breathing in the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Making your
Bacterial
body
pneumonia.
highly acidic.
Absolutely. And that's
I see people on the treadmill on the gym running with it. I'm like,
yeah.
And that poor
Yeah.
girl that broke her the record, that cross country runner that broke her record, broke a national record, collapsed at the line and just mashed her face into the turf.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't
She's
know about
running
that.
with a mask on. It's like driving your car with a banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah.
Or covering your air cleaner.
And that's what we all have to remember too, is along that lines, this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. So we'd
Yep.
like for it to be a sprint, but it's not. We just got to hold the line and stay in it.
Well,
Well,
and
I'm
that's
all
why we
about that.
recommend getting away from it too,
But what about
taking some time?
what are you guys' thoughts on these people, these conservative personality? This pisses me off, that are already preaching 2024 or pep rallies for 20. I mean, dude, that's insane to me. There is no
Yeah.
2024.
Yep.
No.
No,
And,
If
and
you
And it's
had
like,
one-
and I say something, and that's like this disconnection they have from reality, where they're saying, "Oh, 2024, 20." There is no 2024. We
No.
handled 2020, and we better do it in 2021. That's the way I see it.
I agree.
agree.
and by the way, you've seen the meme of the two kids on the roller coaster, and the one screaming in terror.
Yeah,
And it's it's like Trumpers, and then
Yeah.
then there's Anons, and they're
Anons,
like
yeah.
cool as a cucumber.
yeah.
Where's cool as a cucumber? I mean, obviously we're having to make decisions to avoid some of the shit that's happening. The jabs and the masks, all that. We have to make decisions. Our listeners have to make decisions for themselves. But the great thing about that is that we have to have choices in order to make a decision. We have to have really hard choices that force us to learn more, to research more, so that we can make the right decision. And if there's anything that must come out of this entire revolution, it has to be, don't trust anybody other than yourself when it comes to really finding out something really important.
Agreed.
And I tell people all the time, trust but verify. Trust what I'm telling you, but verify. And I've heard you say it to your listeners as well. And I think that's why we got a really nice following.
I think that's the most important part for me, is we got to make everybody responsible, and they have to do their homework. Take what I say with a grain of salt, but go do your homework, go research.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
wrong a lot, and I say it all the time. But what makes me different than everybody else is I come out here and I say it and I put it out there, and I try to get with the most informative people I can get to put on my shows. And that's why I chose to come with you, Dave, and do this, because there's something there. There's something.
Yep.
There's a lot of substance here, and that's why I think we should do more of these. And I
Yeah.
want to learn as I go.
And
you
meanwhile,
can't-
you got to,
you got to teach the masses not to sit on the sidelines anymore, that they're responsible for everything that happens in their neighborhoods, their country, in the world, humanity.
100%.
Because that's what got us here, sitting on the couch eating Cheetos and watching the boob tube. We can't
1,000%, man.
and by the
can't
way,
just fix this problem because it'll still be there. The whole thing has to come down.
And that's why they needed to expose them the way they are right now, and that's why
Yeah.
we're going through this, because
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
by the way, mad props to you for coming on this Truthcast, because I know people are telling you not to.
nobody's told me not to. I mean, and if they do, I just ignore them. I've never taken no very well. No, I,
You got a
no,
back no.
I do what I want, man. Nobody tells me what to do.
All right, good.
That's the
Uh,
fighter in me. On that note, though,
Yes.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. So,
Hey, go get a bite. Hey, enjoyed it very much, Nino. I'm glad to have met you, sir. And I
Yeah,
respect
nice
your
to
work.
meet you guys.
And thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Nice to
absolutely.
meet you, Nina. Hope that
We'll
you're
have you-
back with us again.
Absolutely, we'll do this more.
yeah,
How
we
often?
can-
I love it.
we can do this
Wonderful.
again. And if your audience wants to check out those drops, basically all they have to do is go to the qalerts.app and they can check out and they can see the 736, 737, 38, 39, 40, and they'll see how what was written 3 years ago matches with something that's happening today. And that's the thing that constantly brings us back in to the drops, because we know, we know there's information there, and we're being directed by the people that are a part of this whole thing. So great to spend time with you, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
being here.
Likewise, ditto. I love you guys, and let's
Love
do
you
this
too.
again. I wouldn't mind doing this every couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm
That'd be
down.
great.
We'll make it happen. Love to
Okay,
do it.
guys.
Love
We'll,
you too,
we'll
brother.
talk soon. All right,
Love
see
Stay
you,
in your
brother.
Later.
foxhole, as Tesla says. Stay in your foxhole.
That's
Stay in
my
your
sign
foxhole.
off. Stay in your
Hold the line.
foxhole.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, Nino.
Bye-bye.
See you, buddy.